Well, good evening and welcome to this Tele-Town Hall meeting. I'm Mayor Jeff Williams, and usually we conduct Tele-Town Hall meetings in individual council member districts and then open the topics up to anything on the minds of our residents. Well, because we know so many of you are concerned about the coronavirus pandemic, we have gone citywide in our Tele-Town Halls, and we're dedicating the next hour to answering your questions about the coronavirus. I've assembled the top experts in our city to answer your questions, and joining me are our fire chief who oversees our emergency operations center, Don Krausen, our city manager, Trey Yelverton, police chief Will Johnson, Michael Jacobson, the president and CEO of the Greater Arlington Chamber of Commerce, and Dr. Cynthia Simmons, the city's medical director, who has an extensive background in emergency medicine. Well, we are all here to answer your questions about the virus, such as how Arlington is combating the spread of it, is the Stay Home, Work Safe disaster declaration and social distancing working, how is Arlington working with our small businesses to help them during these tough times, and when are we going to end the disaster declaration and open up? And of course, other resources out there to help people who are struggling during this time. And speaking of that last point, I want everyone to know how important it is for us to reach out and check on our friends, family, and neighbors. You know, social isolation is a critical component of the effort to stop the spread of the coronavirus. But it can also leave behind some of our most vulnerable, and we can't let that happen. In fact, we want to help tonight. If you are a senior, a disabled resident, or someone else who is unable to leave your home and do not have someone regularly checking on you, please press 1 if you would like someone to call and check in on you. So press 1 if you would like someone to call and check in on you. Now let's start getting to your questions. The process is easy. You can choose to just listen to the conversation, or you can also pose a question. And thank you for participating, and let's take our first question, Ian.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. And it'll be from Ken. Reminder, if you have a question you want to submit, you can press 0. You can ask it live, or you can let your operator know if you want me to read it. Thank you, Ken, for being on. What's your question for us?
Okay. I understand, Jeff, that Six Flags is going to open sometime this month. How are you going to maintain social distance with so many people in the park? Also in the fall, when the Dallas Cowboys start playing, how are you going to maintain social distance with over 90,000 people there?
Great question, Ken. Mayor Williams, can you take that one on, please?
Sure, absolutely. Ken, first of all, Six Flags does not plan on opening this month, but they have been in planning since this began on how they can begin the reopening process. They will limit the amount of people. They have put in a lot of thought in being able to contain and maintain the social distancing. And then in addition to that, they also are looking at a reservation system so they can control the amount of people. These are just some of the things that they will work on, but they aren't looking at opening this month. And of course, we're under the executive orders from the governor, and he has not released those kinds of gatherings yet. The same proves true for our stadiums, in which we're still watching the progress of that, and the governor will let us know at that point, and there will be very specific guidelines that are going to be given here before any of that happens. Mr. Yelverton, do you have okay. All right. Do any of y'all have anything to add to that? Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for that. Thank you for the question, Ken. Much appreciated. And a quick reminder that we do have a poll running asking if you're a senior, a disabled resident, or someone else who's unable to leave your home and you do not have someone who's regularly checking on you, you can let us know by pressing 1 on your phone right now, and we'll reach out to you. So again, if you're a senior, if you're disabled, or if someone else is someone else is unable to take care of you and regularly check on you, let us know by pressing 1 on your phone right now so we can reach out. Thanks so much for that. Let's get Elizabeth up. Elizabeth, you're right on the line. Go ahead with your question.
Thank you. I was wondering about the coronavirus situation in assisted livings and nursing homes in Arlington.
Hi, Elizabeth. This is Dr. Cynthia Simmons. I'm the Health Authority for the City of Arlington. And we've been really fortunate within the city so far. We've had nursing homes that have had cases, and we have developed within the city a strike team that goes in within a day or two of actually hearing that there's a positive case. We've been able to identify and isolate any positive cases and actually assist our local facilities in managing those. So overall, we have had facilities that have been affected, but they've done very well. And we have not had, knock on wood and God willing, we have not had a massive outbreak, which is great. We are very proactive in helping these facilities manage those cases. And it has really helped at this point, so we're grateful for that. And thank you, Elizabeth, for bringing that up for us tonight.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the question, Elizabeth. Thank you, Dr. Simmons, for the answer. We've got our next question coming here from Dave. Hey, Dave, you're live.
Yeah, this kind of goes back to the question a couple of them ago regarding the ballparks opening up. Of course, Cowboys, Six Flags, and the major ones right here in the entertainment district. Safety, of course, is going to be number one, but with the governor opens up the state, do you expect that these parks will actually open up and actually be playing baseball this summer? Do you actually see football and that kind of stuff opening up and actually having fans pretty much at the events this year?
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that question. Let's put that one to Chief Cresson.
Yes, Dave, that's a great question, and like everyone else, we're curious to see what's going to happen. But all this has a lot to do with what the governor says, and we're certainly having some discussions with both Cowboys and Rangers and Six Flags on contingency planning for opening and how we would work with them in a phased-in approach. None of these plans are in concrete yet, or because there are no absolute decisions made yet. But once those decisions are made, we'll be working aggressively with these entities to help facilitate a safe environment for those who want to attend these events and who want to participate. So as we move forward, we do expect more opportunities to have mass gatherings in the city of Arlington, but we'll make sure we're doing those with safety first in mind. So thank you for the question, and as we know, we'll make sure the community knows about those venues. Thank you.
That's appreciated. Thank you, Chief. We've got our next one coming here from Chris. And Chris, looks like you've got a good question here for the Chief as well.
My question was more towards the mayor. Have you had any discussions with Major League Baseball about the spread of the virus at games, the number of cases we're expecting, or any limits that might be reached?
No, it's not in that. We definitely have talked with Major League Baseball, but they have been very responsive to our chief and emergency operations here and making sure that they are safe not only for the fans but also for their employees and the players. And so it hasn't gotten into any of those kind of details, but they are exploring all kinds of options, and none of that, as the chief has already stated, nothing has been cemented. And then, of course, all of us are watching at of what is happening to the spread of the virus, and that will be very much affecting what the governor decides to do.
Thanks so much. Great question, Chris. Thanks for asking it. We'll get our next one up here from Dixie. Dixie, you're live on the line. Looks like you've got a good question here for City Manager Trey Elverton.
I keep hearing about how many cases there are in Tarrant County. I wanted to know how many cases there are in Arlington.
Hi, Dixie. This is Trey Elverton, City Arlington. City Manager, as we sit here right now, there's 605 confirmed cases of COVID. You're able to track that on a like up to the minute basis on both the city's website at arlingtontx.gov, and on the front page you can click on coronavirus, and right there we'll have numbers about the people who have gotten better and people who've passed and the number of active cases. I'd also encourage you, there's really robust data that's available at www.tarrantcounty.com. Same thing on the front page of the Tarrant County Public Health website. There's very detailed information that you can ask just about any question you want about statistics of how many people are in the hospitals, what the demographics are, what the lab testing has been, et cetera. So both tarrantcounty.com and arlingtontx.gov have data that you can find it up to the day on what's going on with this information.
Thanks so much. Appreciate the answer. Thank you, Dixie, for the question. We'll get our next one up here from Kenneth. Kenneth, looks like you've got a good question for Dr. Simmons here.
Yes, good evening. My wife and I are both over 60 years old, and fortunately we are in good health, but we're seeing, good news, but we're also seeing, some news that's quite alarming. For example, the spike in the number of cases for Tarrant County. I just heard the previous caller, and, Arlington, I'm just concerned specifically about going to a restaurant. How do you keep a 6-foot distance when somebody's bringing you your meal to your table? I guess.
Is that to me?
Hi, Kenneth. This is Dr. Simmons, again, the health authority for the city. And so, surely, I understand your point. Being 60 puts you in a little bit of a higher risk category. It's a good thing that you're healthy. And I would advise you that you should still take precautions in terms of when you're outside. Things like wearing a mask would be prudent, maintaining 6-foot distance as much as you can. Clearly, if you're out and your food's being served, many of the restaurants, actually the servers are wearing masks, so you're able to enjoy and eat your meal without that concern. In terms of the number of cases, we have seen an increase in the number of cases, and we're also doing more testing. And so we've initiated a testing site here in Arlington specifically, and we're very proactively trying to find the people that have the disease and also isolate those people at home. The good news also is that the hospitals haven't seen a huge surge of cases. So those people, although they're sick, the vast majority of them have been able to stay at home and have been able to recover at home. So that's the good news, and that's what we're seeing in this case. So I hope that you and your wife will be able to get out a little bit and enjoy a good meal together. And thank you.
Thanks, Kenneth. Thank you, Dr. Simmons. We got another one here for you, Dr. Simmons. This one comes from May. Hey, May, you're live.
Hi, good evening. I had this question at the previous town hall, but at that time remdesivir had not been approved for use. Now that it is approved for use, is it available at the hospitals in Arlington?
Hi, May. This is Dr. Simmons again. So yes, remdesivir is available in Arlington. We are using remdesivir, also antibiotics. Although this is a viral illness, the use of Zithromax in conjunction with remdesivir. And the other question that I get commonly is plasma donations. There is an effort underway to get plasma donations through the Department of State Health Services, and we are looking, as more Texans have and recover from this disease, to get a bank going for plasma donations. So you'll be hearing more about that as that process is developed. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate you, May. Let's get our next one up here from Renee. Renee, looks like you got a good question for Chief Krausen.
Yes. Considering we just had an all-time high of new cases Friday, opening things up like the churches, the movie theaters, the restaurants,
and the gyms, aren't we just going to be right back 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now to having to shut things back down when all of these people that are contagious for 2 weeks without not knowing it are out there and other people are catching it?
Hi, Renee. Don Krausen, your fire chief. And the answer to that question is we're always watching the positive cases. And the reason that there are more positive cases right now is we're doing a lot more testing. However, the real number that we watch are the number of hospitalizations. And the hospitalizations regarding COVID patients have been very, very stable, in fact, trending down in some cases. The reality is that we are seeing a number of nursing homes in Tarrant County becoming a factor in the COVID issue. Also, the prison system is a factor of concern. But for the general population, in fact, in the testing site we're doing, the typical positive rate for the symptomatic individuals we test is around 7%. That's a fairly good and consistent number. Statewide, it appears to be trending down somewhat. Now, that doesn't mean we're not paying attention. We're staying on top of the issue. We're watching the hospitals, and we're watching for potential clusters in the city. So far, the only sites that have really been a concern in Arlington have been in the nursing homes. So I think if we take the right precautions, the right social distancing measures and protection measures, we'll generally be safe. Not absolutely positive, but if you're out and you feel a little concerned, we would encourage you to wear a mask or to avoid situations where you don't feel safe. But overall, we feel that conditions are getting better and that we're in a good position to move forward in the community. But know this, we'll be watching the issue and watching out for the community safety all along the way. Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Chief Krausen. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you, Renee. We've got Jeannie next. Hey, Jeannie, thanks for waiting. You're live.
Yes, Mayor Williams, my question is, I have grandchildren, and my son has not been able to go back to work because of course, daycare being closed and not having anyone to watch them. And so I'm curious if there has been any kind of talks with AISD, the administrators, as to what we're looking at going forward for Arlington in the fall.
Right now, that is a statewide question that's being asked there, and the head of the education agency and our governor are both looking at it too. And we are hopeful that we see results here, positive results over the next few weeks, and that they will allow it will be such that our children can go back to school in the fall. And that is the prevailing talk. We hope that of course, everything is dependent upon how the virus and how we contain the spread. The other thing I'll share with you is that Child Care Associates here in town is working very hard, and not just here in town, but throughout Tarrant County, to provide many child care spots. And we have greatly increased that. I would encourage you here to go to our Ask Arlington there, and we can get and give us your information, and we can get you great information on child care opportunities there for you.
Appreciate that. Thank you for the answer, Mayor. Thank you, Jeannie, for the question. And as far as getting information from the city, this is a good chance for me to remind you that if you're not already getting email updates from the city, I encourage you to press 7 on your phone. Give us your email address, and we'll keep you updated as best we can. It's our best way to give you information quickly and accurately is by email. So press 7 on your phone right now. Give us your email address. We'll make sure we keep you updated moving forward. We've got our next question coming here from Roland, and it looks like another good one for Chief Krausen. Hey, Roland, thanks for waiting. You're up.
This is for the mayor and the doctor. I'm having a hard time finding hand sanitizer and bleach, and I'm wondering why the stores are not being able to get it in the stores. My second part is it concerns wearing masks in the stores and keeping social distancing. I've seen children walk in, some of the elderly walk in, and, even some young folks. I'm 58 years old. I'm not trying to get sick or die. Why these people are not following the rules that are laid out to wear masks in public places?
All right, thank you, Roland. Who can start in on Roland's question, Chief or Mayor or
Roland, this is Don Krausen, Fire Chief. I'm going to go ahead and try to answer your question for you. Hand sanitizer and bleach is starting to show up in the grocery stores again. We're getting that feedback from the community. It's just they're going really quickly, so I ask you to go shopping early, and hopefully those supplies will be there. But they are starting to make it back into the grocery stores, and even some of the larger box stores, Home Depots and Lowe's. From a mask perspective, we don't have a requirement for citizens to wear a mask out in the community. We certainly encourage it, and for your own personal safety, we would encourage you to use a mask when you feel unsafe. However, I think the community as a whole is generally doing a pretty good job from a social distancing standard perspective. Some businesses are requiring the use of masks. Certainly many employees you will see in a mask for customer safety and for employee safety, but I would encourage you to get a mask, and if you find yourself in a situation where you don't feel quite safe, put the mask on and continue on with your business and do the things you need to do out there. Thank you for the question.
Thank you again, Chief. Thank you, Roland. We'll get our next one up right away. This one comes from our Spanish simulcast audience. We're broadcasting this event live in Spanish as well. And this one comes from Manuel, who's asking, my wife is infected with the coronavirus. How can I get a test? Chief, can you take that one on as well?
Sure.
Sure. This is Dr. Simmons. I'll go ahead and answer that for Manuel. Manuel, the easiest way, I think, would be to go through our drive-through that we have in Arlington. And if you have a family member that's positive, that is one of the criteria we will allow for testing. So you are welcome to call the phone number or get on the website and get tested. And we would encourage him to do so in that way. He can also get tested through his primary care doctor. If he's not able to go through the drive-through, that's another option open to him to get testing.
And we do speak Spanish at the site, and if you need assistance, we're certainly happy to translate or communicate with you in your native language.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the answers, and thank you, Manuel. Thanks so much for that question from our Spanish simulcast. We've got our next one coming here from Jennifer. Jennifer, looks like you've got a good question here that I believe the Chief will answer, but go ahead. Jennifer, are you there with us?
Yes.
Go ahead with your
I was
question.
wondering about the hair salons in Fort Worth, and when are they going to open, in the nail salons, and like the home health care agencies, when are they going to open? And because I work in the home, I work as a caregiver, and it's very, very slow right now. I'm not working right now, and I just wanted to know when that would pick up, and the assisted livings and all that.
Jennifer, this is Don Krausen, Fire Chief, and I think everyone's concerned about the hair salons. I know in Arlington they'll be opening up on Friday with certain restrictions and requirements for proper protection for the employees and the patrons. So that is happening in Arlington. I'm assuming it's also happening in Fort Worth. And then as far as home health care. Home health care agencies are active right now, and there's plenty of work in that field, I believe. So I would encourage you to seek opportunities for employment because we know they're very busy at this time. Thank you for the question.
Thank you again for the answer. Thanks, Jennifer. We've got one coming here from Mac next. Mac, looks like you got a question for Dr. Simmons. Go ahead.
Yes, my question is not for the city, but mainly with the county. I'm having a very difficult time trying to get an appointment be made right here in Arlington. They shifted me around from 2 or 3 different operators, and when I finally got a hold of somebody, they went and got me scheduled to go over to Jennings Street in Fort Worth when we have a facility right here at the Parks Mall. And I don't understand what the problem is. I'm 81 years old. I've had open heart surgery and have other ailments recently, and I don't understand what the problem is with the county.
Hey, Mac, this is Don Crowson, the fire chief. I tell you what, I'm going to give you my phone number. I want you to call it tomorrow, and we'll get you tested, okay? Call 817-459, let me give you this, 459-6941. Let's try that number, or 6939, and we'll get you in, and we'll figure out how to facilitate testing for you. We'll call him. And Mac, we have your phone number, I believe, and we'll call you also. Thank you for the call.
We do, yeah, Mac. We've got your phone and your name in that question, so we'll definitely follow back up with you. Thanks so much. All right, let's get our next one up here from Amy. Hey, Amy, thanks for waiting. You're live on the line. Looks like you got a good question for the mayor here.
Hi, I was wondering, I work for General Motors. We're getting word we're going back to work May 18th. How is that going to happen with social distancing when it's over 3,000 people that work there and we work right next to each other, side by side and across?
Well, Amy, General Motors actually has come up and worked with our emergency operations personnel to actually develop a very good plan there for social distancing and hygiene. I think you will be impressed with it. In fact, they actually implemented that the last few weeks that they were open and had great success because we've had over 14 days now and no one was infected there and very impressive. So I hope that you will find that they have done a great job there of working through the guidelines and following the guidelines as outlined by the governor.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you, Amy. Appreciate your question. And for those of you who pressed 7 to give us your email address, a little bit of backlog in that queue, but hang tight. We will get to you as quickly as we can. Our next question is coming here from Russell.
Okay. Hello.
Russell?
My name's Russell. I got yesterday tested by the fire department because they came out to my house because I don't have a car, anything, and they told me after they got through that I should hear the results about my test. If not, I should get on the computer, but I've been having so much problems with my computer, and then I get so many prank robocalls that I don't even pick up when it rings because I got a caller ID. How will I know if it's from the Tarrant County Disease Center or who am I supposed to find out the results of my test? That's yesterday.
God, thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Russell. Can we put that, Dr. Simmons?
Sure. Hi, Russell. This is Dr. Simmons. And we have been receiving those results generally 3 to 5 days after the testing. And our first priority is to call all of the people that are positive. So once those people are notified, then all of the negative people are notified. And we have crews working 7 days a week to notify people that are both positive and negative. So if you tested tomorrow, I would expect 3 days at the earliest, as much as 5 days for you to be able to get those results. And we're calling both positive and negative. So you should be receiving a phone call from us. Thank you, Russell.
Yeah, thanks, Russell. Thank you, Doctor. We've got Bree with our next question. Hey, Bree, you're live on the line. Looks like you got a good one for our city manager.
Yeah, I had a question. Does the city plan on letting the citizens know, like, per zip code, how many cases we have? And if we don't plan on doing that, can you just walk me through why we couldn't know that information?
Bree, this is Trey Yelverton, city manager. That information is available, albeit maybe not quite as simple to get to as what you might like, and we'll work to simplify that. You can get that information right now by going to the Tarrant County website, tarrantcounty.com, and then click on coronavirus, and there's a bunch of different charts and graphs in there. One of them has a map, and the map actually outlines all the zip codes in Tarrant County, and if you click on your zip code, there'll be a pop-up window that will tell you how many positive cases there are in that zip code. It does take a little bit of extra effort, and I've gotten some inquiries from folks who just rather see a spreadsheet on the city's website that lists our zip codes and what the activity level is, and so we'll be working to simplify kind of the ease of information, but it is available now and kind of has been since we've gotten started. So hopefully you'll see a cleaner, easier version very soon.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that, City Manager. Thank you, Bree. Let's get one in here from Patricia. Hey, Patricia, you're live on the line. Looks like you got a good question for our chief.
Yes, it's Patty, but that's okay. I was out this past weekend running errands, like the pharmacy. I do errands where I don't have to get out of my car. And I saw lines and lines of people at restaurants, no social distancing, not a face mask in sight. I drove out by the lake last weekend. It was packed, no social distancing, no face masks in sight. So, are we going to enforce this, or are we just going to allow people to put the rest of us in danger?
Hi, Patricia. This is Don Krausen, Fire Chief. I'd ask if you saw something that you're concerned about, certainly call the fire department, and we'll go out and investigate it. We've talked with the business community extensively about our expectation regarding social distancing and other protocols. Most of the business community are very happy to comply with the standards that the governor and the city has established. So there will be a few, I'm sure, out there that may not comply perfectly, and if you see something, please give us a call, and we'll go and investigate it and work to resolve the issue.
And I would just add, Patricia, this is Trey, the city manager, that while we can follow those items up like you've requested, I just would ask everyone who's on the call that as you go out and decide who to do business with, and you see things that cause concern for you, whether it's too much, not enough social distance, or you want someone to have a mask and they don't, you still have great power in just simply consumer choice and going to places and rewarding places that you think are taking this seriously. So I would encourage you to exercise your own discretion and trade with those who you believe are representing values that you admire and you appreciate. But we will follow up, as Chief said, on anything that you point out to us, and we'll counsel the business and see if we can't get some assistance there.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Thank you. Appreciate your question, Patty. We've got our next one coming here from Sandra, who's asked me to read her question. She asks, where can families get food if we're struggling to even pay our bills right now? Mayor, can you take that one on for Sandra, please?
Sure, be happy to. Let me just begin. We have several of our nonprofit partners who are helping out on this, but let me mention one that is open almost all the time, and that's Mission Arlington. That is in downtown Arlington at the corner of South and Oak Street, and they are taking care of families each and every day, and people from all over the community are helping to donate and to make a difference there. And but that is where I'd recommend you go here, but you will see that Arlington Urban Ministries, Arlington Charities, Salvation Army, there are just a lot that are entering in to help to feed their families. But not knowing what time and so forth you might be going, I think the easiest and most convenient would be to go to Mission Arlington, and they can help take care of your needs. And we, of course, wish the best, and I just want to take this opportunity there to express great empathy for those that have lost their jobs, and we are very hopeful as we begin to open up businesses that we will be able to restore jobs, but I also want to thank our citizens for their generosity in continuing to help provide there for those who are less fortunate.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. Thanks for the question from Sandra. And we'll move right along to our next one from Vanessa. Hey, Vanessa. It looks like you've got a good question here for Michael Jacobson. He's President and CEO of Greater Arlington Chamber of Commerce. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, basically, it was regarding the face mask. I just wanted to find out why everyone wasn't required to wear the face mask, but it looks like you pretty much answered the question. So.
Well, it looks like you were asking how much responsibility businesses have to require customers to have that mask on. Was that the question you submitted?
That was part of the question. Yes, absolutely.
Sure. Let's get that one answered for you.
So this is Michael Jacobson, the President and CEO of the Greater Arlington Chamber of Commerce. So I would say that, there's responsibility and there's liability, and those are two different items. So let me speak to responsibility. In my view, it's up to business to make sure that they're protecting their employees and they're protecting their customers. And they need to take the appropriate steps, the responsible steps, to make sure that they're protecting their customers and their employees. I'm pretty proud of the way our business community has responded. That does not mean that every business in Arlington is doing it exactly the way that I would ask them to, right? They have their own the rights to do things as long as they're meeting the governor's guidelines. And again, the governor's guidelines, we cannot require anybody to wear a mask. That is not something that can be required. Now, I would suggest to businesses, to restaurants and customer-facing businesses that they should have their employees wear masks, and they should ask their customers to wear masks. Obviously, if they're in a restaurant, they're going to have to take that mask off to eat. And to me, that's part of being responsible. But as our city manager said, the great thing is ultimately consumers get to make the choice here. So if you see a business that's doing something that you're not pleased with, then don't go to that business. Find those ones who are doing what you believe is responsible behavior. I keep stressing with businesses that it's so critical right now to maintain trust with their customers. And they need to take those steps to maintain trust long term. But again, people are going to interpret that different ways. The great thing is you get to determine yourself, where you want to go and who's meeting the standards that you have.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that question. And from Vanessa, and thank you, Michael, for the answer. We'll get our next one up here from Ella. And Ella, I think your question is going to be answered by our Assistant City Manager, Jennifer Wickman. So go ahead, please.
Okay. I just finally got into the unemployment call. I've been trying to get in since March. And finally, this weekend when I got in, they had asked how long had I been unemployed, and I said since spring break. And I was trying to give them a date, and I said April 13th. Well, the end of spring break was March 13th, but I was so excited about finally getting in because I've been calling every day and on the weekends all day, and so I gave them the wrong date. So I was wondering, is this just something that I need to just go on and accept it because I finally got in, or can this be corrected?
Ella, this is Jennifer Wickman, Assistant City Manager. I believe that's something you're going to be able to get corrected, but you will have to get back in touch with the Texas Workforce Commission. So I'll encourage you to either keep calling, and they have extended their hours from 7 to 7. And for Arlington numbers, if you got an 817 number, they suggest you call Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday from 7 to noon. They're also open on Saturday. But you also may try logging in online and getting access to your file that way, and you may be able to submit a change then. But I would suggest you keep trying. I'm sure that they have to correct other types of errors, perhaps some that are just like yours, and I understand it's very hard to get through. But do keep trying. That's an important benefit that you need to get right now.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Jennifer. Thank you, Ella. Sorry that you're dealing with that. We'll get our next one up here from Ruth, and she's asked me to read this question. Looks like it's going to be a good one for our city manager, Trey Yelverton. So Question is anyone keeping a record of the number of confirmed cases among the African American population? And if not, why not? Can you take that one on, please, City Manager?
Hi, Ruth. Trey Elverson, City Manager. Yes, we do keep that information. It's there's very robust, detailed information at tarrantcounty.com, and if you click on the COVID website, there's a lot of demographic data regarding testing, how many has been sick, who has been sick amongst Asian, African American, Hispanic, and Anglo, as well as tracking the deaths by Asian, African American, Anglo, Hispanic. So there's a lot of good segmentation, and as we sit here right now, 17% of the population has tested positive African American right now, which is fairly parallel to the demographics of our community. But that data is available. We're tracking it. We know it's important to the community to understand those potential disparities, and we're on it.
Thank you. Appreciate that, City Manager. Thank you for that question. And we'll get our next one up here from Becky. Becky, you got a question for Chief Krausen. Go ahead.
Yes, I got a big question. Okay, I live in Mesquite, and we live in Terrell, and if you go to Mesquite, they wear masks. If you go to Terrell or Coplin or something like that, you don't have to. Why is that?
Hi, Becky. It's Don Krausen. I can't comment on the actions of other cities. I know here in the city of Arlington, we don't require anyone to wear a mask, but if you're a cancer patient, I would highly encourage you to be wearing a mask at all times when you're outside or when you're around other people. That's very important for your own personal safety. So please do that. Please take care of yourself. And we thank you for the question.
Thank you, Chief. Let's get our next one in here from Betty. Betty, you're live. Looks like you got a good question for Dr. Simmons here.
Who would you contact if you've had the COVID-19 testing and it's been over 2 weeks and you haven't heard the results?
Hi, Betty. This is Dr. Simmons. I guess a couple things. We haven't been doing it in our drive-through for 2 weeks, so I would assume it's not through the Arlington drive-through. If it is through the Arlington drive-through, we've only been doing that testing for a little over 1 week. So, but you can call the Arlington Fire Department if it is us, and we can check into that. If it was not us, then my recommendation, I guess, would be to call whoever it was who initiated and performed the test for you, whether it was your primary care provider or a testing center or a clinic, that center itself would be able to track down and find out. But most of the test results are coming back in 5 days at the most. So I would expect within 2 weeks you would have had results. So I would double check on those. And again, if it's the fire department, you're welcome to call us and we'll check into those. And I hope you get your results soon. Thank you, Betty.
Thank you, Doctor. Thanks so much, Betty. We've got Marcia up next. Marcia's asked me to read her question. Happy to do that. She's in Southwest Arlington asking, do we have to listen to Governor Abbott, worried about things opening up too quickly? Thanks for that question from Marcia. Mayor, can you take that one on for us?
Sure. Governor Abbott orders do control what is going on in the entire state of Texas, and yes, we do need to listen to him. And then in addition to that, I want you to know that medical professionals and lots of great experts have been feeding in information and input into our governor. He also has a strike force that he's listening to, and then in addition to that, he's been listening to our local professionals. Both Chief Krausen and Dr. Simmons have been giving input into that, and I do believe it's a well thought out plan. But, however, based on any plan, for it to be successful, we are going to have to follow it. And this is one time when you can't say that this is out of our control. It is very much in our control. We need to follow the guidelines there that are outlined. We need to continue practicing our social distancing, our hygiene, and follow the guidelines, because if we do, we have an excellent opportunity to be able to slow the spread of this virus and ultimately beat the coronavirus. But it's going to take a lot of cooperation because we are opening up in the midst of the virus. And yes, I think that it is a wide variation among our population. Some believe it's too early, some believe it's too late. But let's step up and let's do our part to work to get rid of the virus. It is an unseen enemy, but however, we need to be able to follow the rules so that we can ultimately get out of this sooner rather than later. And we're making great progress here in Arlington. And I want to take the opportunity again to thank our first responders and our frontline medical professionals and our hospitals for all the great work that they are doing, and our citizens, because we are in great shape right now because you have been following the social distancing. Let's don't stop. Let's keep following those rules and make a difference here in Arlington.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that answer. Let's get one here from Jeff in South Arlington. Jeff, looks like you got a good question here for Chief Krausen.
Yes, I actually have a few, and you can just kind of pass these around, and y'all can answer these. What about these stores not checking the amount of people going in and out? You got Home Depot checking the amount of people going in and out. Lowe's Home Improvement, they do not. And, you know, why are some stores requiring masks and others are not? And we have a lot of stores out there that, you know, they're not even looking at their people coming in the door about social distancing. It's just like, hey, you know, just come on in and just roll over everybody, and it is what it is. I've seen that at a couple of stores that I just walked out of. And the last one, I actually have several, but I'm just going to leave it with this last one. If you think you've had this back in end of January, February, are you able to get tested to see?
Okay, Jeff, this is Don Krausen, Fire Chief. I'm going to take a shot at some of those questions, and I'll defer the last one to Dr. Simmons. So, there is a requirement in Arlington about the number of people that can be, a percentage, 25%, for most of the businesses in Arlington. The issue is if you have a concern that you see something that you don't feel safe about, like the city manager said, we would encourage you not to visit that establishment. However, if you see a problem, you want us to take a look at it, please call us at 817-459-5539, and we'll come and investigate the issue. We've done this a number of times already, and we've worked with a number of businesses to get in the right position on the issue. And they have. We've been pleasantly surprised they've worked with us. So we know that sometimes, you know, this is an issue. There's a lot of people in Arlington, and not everyone's aware of what the standards are, and we're happy to show up and remind the establishment if it's needed. And so please know that we're doing the best we can, and if you see something, give us a call. Regarding the antibody testing, I'll defer to Dr. Simmons.
Hi, Jeff. This is Dr. Simmons. And so there is antibody testing available. There are now several tests that are approved, antibody testing. The hospitals are doing antibody testing, clinics, and a lot of private physician offices are doing antibody testing. And really just an internet search for COVID antibody testing, you can come up with a number of places that are doing them and can get tested for that. So I wish you luck, Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that, everybody. Thank you, Jeff, for your question. And so we did finally clear out that queue of email addresses. Everybody who submitted their email address to get updates, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. For anybody who didn't get a chance yet, this is your last opportunity to press 7 on your phone, give us your email address, and get email updates from the City of Arlington as we move through this recovery period. So again, 7 right now if you'd like to get your email address in to get email updates. I've got a quick PSA real quick, and then we'll be getting back to questions from our audience. Public service announcement for you is that it's not too late to respond to the 2020 census. If you haven't responded yet, it takes just 10 minutes to respond to your household, and responding to the census means more representation in our government, more funding for community services like senior programs and meal delivery, after-school care, free lunch programs, public health, and safety programs. Census is safe and easy. It can be completed anytime online, by phone, or by mail. Less than 60% of households in Arlington have responded, so we need to count on you to respond. You can go online and fill out the census at www.2020census.gov. That's 2020census.gov, or you can call 844-330-2020 to complete your census. So again, 2020census.gov, or call 844-330-2020. Thanks so much, everybody. Let's get our next question in here from Tina. Tina in South Arlington, you're live. Go ahead.
Yes, I think that our local government has done a good job, and I understand the need for opening everything back up again. So my question is, since our governor's made this decision to open everything back up, and a lot of the medical news is saying that's a bad idea, if things go south, does our local government have the authority to reel things back and say, wait a minute, we jumped too quick, we want to back up a little bit? Do y'all have that authority, or is it just entirely up to the governor?
Hi, Tina. This is Trey
Go ahead.
Tina, it's Trey Albertson, City Manager. I'll take a stab at that question. The short answer to that question is the governor's the chief elected officer of the state, and cities are subdivisions of the state. So the governor's orders do preempt any city action. We can do things that are complementary or compatible to the governor's actions, but we cannot revoke them or be in cross purposes to them. Though, as the chief elected for the state, I'd encourage you, if you have an opinion there, I know the governor's webpage and such will take public comment, and would encourage you to offer any feedback that you've got on his directives through that office. And just know that he does have that strike team that the mayor reported, and has input from medical professionals and business professionals, and is doing as best he can be. But I also know there's people who have differing opinions, and I'd suggest you offer those direct through him, because we will be working compatibly with those orders.
Thank you. Appreciate that, City Manager. Thank you, Tina, for your question. We've got our next one coming from Barbara. Got a few minutes here to take a few more questions. Thank you, Barbara, for waiting. You're live on the line.
I'd like to know when contact tracing is going to be done. Somebody called in earlier and said that their spouse was COVID positive, yet that person hasn't been tested. That seems kind of idiotic to me, to not follow through with things like that. Is it the lack of availability of testing, or what's the reason for not doing contact tracing?
Hi, Barbara. This is Dr. Simmons. In that specific case, I don't know. That individual didn't mention contact tracing, but indeed, contact tracing is occurring. Once we have, let's say within our drive-through testing a positive, we give that information to Tarrant County Public Health and their epidemiology department. They have a number of full-time epidemiology staff, as well as they have a whole volunteer cadre of people that are helping do that contact tracing. So for each individual positive, those people would be contacted. Now, sometimes it takes a couple of days, but that contact tracing is occurring in Tarrant County. And as you mentioned, that's vital, like you said, to prevent further spread of COVID. And so it is indeed important, and it is occurring. And so thank you, Barbara, for that question, because it is an important thing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Barbara. And thank you, Dr. Simmons. We've got another quick PSA here. This one's about a website for a roadmap to reopen and recovery. So please visit www.arlingtontx.gov/coronavirus to find out more and get daily updates, news articles, COVID-19 prevention tips, and information about Arlington's roadmap to reopen and recover. Phase 1, which relaxes restrictions for select businesses, activities, and services, will continue until at least May 18, 2020. We also encourage you to follow us on social media at City of Arlington. To schedule an appointment for free, you can do drive-through COVID-19 testing in Arlington. Please call Tarrant County. And that phone number, if you missed it earlier, is 248-6299. We'll have one more PSA in just a moment here. Let's get our next question up from Eduardo, who's asked me to read his question. He says, Dallas keeps getting all the assistance. Will Arlington be doing any homeowners or rent assistance? Let's see, Eduardo, thanks for the question. City Manager, can you take that one on?
Yes, Eduardo, this is Trey Yelverton, City Manager. We will have some limited housing assistance dollars that will be available for rental assistance or foreclosure prevention assistance, probably a tune of $3 to $4 million that's going to be coming through Arlington from the federal government. Some of those monies are currently available. Some will be available probably within the next 30 days. However, I need to mention that the dollars you see being invested in Dallas and Fort Worth and Dallas County and Tarrant County are coming from a funding source that the city does not have direct access to. And that's also coming from the federal government and is working through those governments. It's our hope and expectation that the city would have some additional resources through Tarrant County because they've received a sizable amount of assistance from the federal government, and we'll be working collaboratively with all the cities to come up with a plan on how to distribute those funds. I know that rental assistance and foreclosure prevention assistance is part of the things that they are concerned about, as are we. So there are limited funds now, hopefully more assistance to come. Please follow the website that was alluded to a few moments ago, and you'll be able to keep up with news relative to the assistance that's available.